We all know the 49ers need a wide receiver. The combine is less than 2 weeks away, but don't worry, we've already got our eye on some wide receivers. Johnny's going to show you 3 picks he thinks would be perfect for the Niners next. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Gold Standard podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. That man is Johnny Dell from the Johnny Dell Football Academy. What's up, Johnny?
Oh, man, having a good week. I've been able to kind of refresh a little bit after all the traveling and getting through this Senior Bowl film. There's a lot of it, and it's good. We can kind of get away from the Senior Bowl and have the Super Bowl, and we kind of put it in the rearview mirror, but there's a lot of meat on that bone.
Super Bowl, forget it. That's over with. It's 2026 now. We have moved on. 49ers are eligible to win the Super Bowl again, and they're going to have to rebuild some of their roster, specifically their wide receiving core. Could look very different going into next season and probably will. So what we're going to do on today's show is we are going to take a dive into some Senior Bowl film, and because you were there and you were checking out the wide receivers as well, and we have 3 receivers that would be a perfect fit for the 49ers. I'm so excited. I always tell people I'm not like a scout. I can't break down, but I do enjoy watching certain positions: quarterback, running back, wide receiver. It's time for a little candy on today's show. Sometimes we eat our vegetables. Today we're going to have some candy. We're going to look at some fun scouting. We're going to look at some wide receivers. Who were the 3 players that you picked out, and who are we starting with?
So we're going to look at USC wide receiver Jacobe Lane. Then we will look at Notre Dame wide receiver Malachi Fields. And we will finish with Missouri wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. The first 2 are very similar. And don't worry, that is not a problem with your broadcast. That is a problem with the Senior Bowl film as they were cutting it. That the first guy we're going to look at is Jacobe Lane from USC. So he is very much what I comp him to is Juwan Jennings with more speed, not as much body right now. I think he's got a frame that can be filled out. They're going to, in 49ers fashion, if they were to get him, ask him to put on at least 10 pounds. I think they would want him to bulk up. But why do I think he's Juwan Jennings with more speed? He's a very strong contested catch guy. Huge frame, 6'1" of an inch, 196 pounds. So he is a little bit more slight for his frame. But I will tell you that because he is so much legs and arms, he looks slighter than he is. I got to stand next to him, and he is a little bit thicker than you would imagine. He's just very little torso, which is where a lot of the weight comes from. Not a lot of torso to the kid. But he's probably going to run a 40 time, at least a 10th faster than Juwan Jennings did. So that's why I say he's a Juwan Jennings with more speed. And Juwan Jennings is probably not going to be on the team next year. And so you need to get that big bodied, big catch radius guy who can win in the end zone, win on third down. You really, really need that. And he's that with a little bit more speed. Here we're going to see him where he's going to work vertical. And you will see throughout all these clips that the corners he was going against struggled with his frame. His body in there was just a lot for these guys to handle. He's going to work vertical here, and you'll see the same thing. As he gets vertical, you can see he's got the game tape to match down the field. He can get vertical. He's not a huge separator, long speed down, but once he gets in position, these corners panic because his frame is so large, and he's got such a big catch radius. You'll see it here. The ball comes up, and you'll see it from the other end. The defensive back holds him really, really bad. So you see there it is. You can see the arm length is giving this guy trouble on the outside as he's trying to press and work him to the sideline. And you can see he grabbed the inside of the chest plate and just held on for dear life to keep that from being a big play given up. Here you're going to see it from the back, and you will see how his frame opens up these routes. So there he goes. You're going to see him. I think he extends his arm here, and there it is. That's why this is such a difficulty for defensive backs, is that arm length makes it tough for them to get into his body. And then they get in there and you can see the hold there as he grabs on. Now, here he's going against Malik Muhammad from Texas. Malik is right now graded at about a 3rd round pick for a corner. I think he's one of the better press corners in this draft. You're going to see it was an absolute battle between Muhammad and Lane, and Muhammad and Malachi Fields. Those were the two guys that Malik Muhammad struggled against because he's a press corner, and those are the two guys who have the biggest frames, and that showed here. Now, he gets a little bit of hands to the face, and that's going to hold Jacobe up here, but he breaks through, works through the contact, and then separates. And so that's what you like to see, draws the flag. Jacobe Lane drew so many flags in these one-on-ones because guys were just grabbing, ripping, holding, because his frame was causing so many issues for these guys. You'll see it here. That head's going to whip back. You see there's the hands to the face. So that's an automatic penalty right there. You like to see how he works through everything and that big catch radius. Again, the frame is really nice to see. Here he's up the top. He's going to be running a go route, and then the quarterback here is going to bail out, and you'll see him. I love this adjustment on the off schedule as he's going to sink his hips and let the corner go right by. And he creates a separation. Quarterback's out of the pocket, and he's going to throw. And here's where that big frame comes in handy. He's able to catch it along the sideline. You're going to see it from the end zone. Just again, he just is he's like a big safety blanket for quarterbacks when you have these big frame guys who can snatch the ball out of the air along the sideline, still has the ability to sink his hips. Now, he's been working on his route running this offseason with TJ Hushmanzada. So that is who he's training with right now. And I think he's made some real good strides from college to even getting to the Senior Bowl, and somebody that you like what you see in that regard.
That's who Brandon Aiyuk used to work a lot with, was TJ Hushmanzada.
Yeah, 100%. Former Oregon State wide receiver. People forget that. He was a receiver with Chad Johnson at Oregon State and Cincinnati. Here, I love this red zone work. So he's going to be in man coverage. He's right here. He's going to run a widened Skinner. Something we run, as they're going to run a double post concept here in the red zone. That is what a lot of teams run. We run this. Watch his work. Again, he's right up here against this. Oh, turns the corner, and that is NFL wide open. Quarterback does not hit it. He's looking somewhere else, but he's got his corner turned. You got the clear out. He's wide open on the widened Skinner. Quarterback needs to hit that. Quarterback play at the Senior Bowl was not great, but love how he sets that route up, and he's a big red zone target. You see it's there. You can see the vision. I love the vision that we can have with him. One question people have at his frame, can he block? Was up and down with it at USC. Here you're going to see him crack block on the end as they're going to do this pin and pull. We see so many teams run. We run it. Watch him take on the defensive end on this crack, and there he goes. That's a great crack block. Love it. You're going to see it from the end zone because with the 49ers, no block, no rock. You're going to see him down
this is what Kyle's watching.
Yep. He's watching this stuff saying, all right, can you block? There it is. I love it. Sticks his nose in there, gets the block. Love to see that. We're going to see it from the other end zone. They give us all the angles for the Senior Bowl. I love it.
He looks like you talked about maybe the size. He looks big to me. Like when you showed the clips of him at the end from behind, I was like, whoa, this guy's bigger than I thought.
100%. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't tip the scales as much because the torso is so small, but he's so much arms and legs. And again, standing next to him, he's not nearly as thin as you would imagine. Because he from the all-22, he looks thin because he's so lengthy. I think his arm length is something like his wingspan, something like 6'8", 6'9", just huge wingspan. You're going to see him here. He's going to win vertical. Again, there's a tug. He doesn't adjust great to a bad ball here, but the question has been, does he have the speed to win down the field? Here you got it. He's past the corner. He's going to work vertical. He's got the speed to win deep. He really does. The thing I always say with people about 40-yard times, is I don't care as much about what your 40 is if you can show on the game film that you can win deep. Like because it doesn't matter if you can run a 4-3 if you can't, get past the corner and beat him deep at any time. Well, it's just a stat at that point. Here you can see he is getting that separation. His arm is held, not great adjustment on it, but you can see why I like him as an outside receiver. Again, here from the end zone. I mean, this is a big kid. You can see the torso is not nearly as sizable for what you would expect for the legs. That's what I mean. But here you're going to see these arms. I'm going to do this in half speed so you can see how he uses these arms. There it is. That is why you like him against a press, is because you can see the corner is fully extended, has to get out over his hips. He's getting off balance just to try and reach through his arm extension. That is where he has a huge potential of a guy who can beat the press. Now he tries to work back inside, give his quarterback a little bit more room to throw, and you can see the grab again. Like, this is a guy that over and over again you saw corners just panicking as they got down here, and they would grab and hold. I mean, you can see there's the holds on arms. They grab everything, and here comes the laundry in from the refs. Here he is again at the top. This one is, I got to go back to my stuff here. You're going to see him work vertical again. Works. There's the arm length, gives guys trouble. He gets down here and guys grab again. You can just see it rep after rep. These guys are grabbing him. They're holding on. You can see the separation, the stack. There's the arm length giving trouble. And then they just grab and hold. I mean, this guy's just holding onto his arm the whole way down.
This is a weird thing, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like the 49ers don't really have wide receivers that force other players to commit penalties. I feel like we never draw pass interference penalties. We never draw illegal contact penalties. It kind of would be nice to get some of those on our side for a change.
Exactly. I mean, you can see this. Like, this is as bad as it gets. This guy is literally hanging on his inside arm as they're going down here, and that's why it's not a touchdown. But you can see the vision of why you think he's going to be a big time guy. Sorry, my son's right here. He's needing something real quick. Is that what you needed? I think he wanted a little more volume on YouTube. Sorry. Little Dell was here.
He's watching us, right?
Yeah. Here again, questions about run blocking. Here he's on an insert block. This is something we do all the time. Get in there, block the safety. That's tough task for a wide receiver. Watch him get in here and dig this guy out. I love it. Fight. Look at him. There he goes. Block to the whistle. Love it. I love that stuff.
The wide receiver blocking last year was so suspect. There were so many snaps. We would watch them where Juwan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne would be like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, 100%. And so, it's not perfect yet, but you can see, again, the potential is there. Why I like the kid. Here, you're just running double curls. He's on the outside. And here is not a great throw, but look at the catch radius. I mean, this kid, to really understand how high this throw is, you got to remember this kid's 6'4" with like a 6'9" wingspan, and he has to fully extend. But that's the kind of area, I will say, this quarterback, number 10, he left a lot to be desired at his Senior Bowl performances. Not accurate. He wasn't great, but there it is. I mean, just huge catch radius. So you can see the vision of why I like him, why I think this is somebody that the 49ers could really use, and he's that Juwan Jennings type. Juwan Jennings with more speed. That's what I like about him. He can make things happen after the catch. This is the kind of guy that if you pull an opposing team off sides, guess what? You throw it up to that kid, because he has a chance to go get it and make a high point catch because of that huge catch radius.
Love it. Now, when do you think that they would have to draft him if they wanted him?
So that's been a question with him. I think that is going to come into a lot more clarity at the combine. If he runs 4.5 or less, then we're talking about this is a kid who might be gone before round 2. So you would have to use a first round pick on him. It's not secure. It's not certain. There is some, I guess, discussion about where does he rank right now. The average consensus is that he's the 11th, about the 11th or 10th best receiver in this draft. So there's a very good possibility that there's 7 guys who go within the top 20. And so how that last 7 kind of shakes out and with wide receivers will be interesting. So you may have to spend a first on him. If he runs closer to 4.55, then you're looking at end of the second round.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice. And, I'm fascinated to see if the Niners, if they make a trade for like a Max Crosby, then, they're going to have to give up some draft picks. But if they don't, and you move Mac Jones and you end up with an extra second round pick, or maybe a second and a fourth, something like that, I'll be fascinated to see what they do with that pick. Maybe they have to package their original second rounder and whatever they get for Mac to move up in the second to get one of these guys. That's also possible.
100%. And it's one reason I do like the idea of them maybe targeting an Alec Pierce, is that you don't have to force the issue. If you're there at 27 and you think this kid is maybe, the 50th best receiver, can you then have the luxury to wait and see, does he start to get into that second, middle of the second round, late second round? And maybe then you could make a move up, or you stand pat and you say, we hope this kid falls to us. That's going to be interesting to see where it goes over the next 6 weeks. That's a fun part of this part of the year.
Well, Kyle, it's funny you say that, because Kyle always talks about how he wishes you could flip free agency in the draft, do the draft first and have free agency come after. It is sort of a weird thing where, let's say the Niners are in on Pierce, but then it just gets to a point where it's just too expensive. Like they just don't want to do it. And then they're like, all right, well, gulp. We don't really love any of the other free agent wide receivers. Guess we have to go draft a bunch. Like, then that changes your whole draft plan. And that gets a little scary, because I think that this Niners team just needs to draft. Forget trying to draft for need. Draft best player available. You need some studs, some horses. Take some home run swings. I don't care if you whiff. But don't just draft a safe guy. Go for the home run swing, because you can't accidentally hit a home run, in my opinion. You got to go and try and get some dogs. That's what this team is missing.
Yeah. And speaking of a dog, we're going to look at Malachi Fields now. He's a wide receiver from Notre Dame. Now, this is another Juwan Jennings type, but again, more speed. I think he's a little bit faster. He's a hair faster than Jacobe, and he's bigger. He's as far as meat. He's same height, 6'4". He weighed 218 pounds at the Senior Bowl, so he's got about 20 pounds on Jacobe. Here they cut in a little bit late on it. He's down here, but going vertical. I love how he works inside for some leverage on the corner to stack him, and then he's going to use that length. Maybe a little push off there, but he late hands and he picks up and he's able to get it in there. You can see that's against Malik Muhammad again, down the sideline. You're going to see it really well from here. This was like opening day of the Senior Bowl and these things. So the camera crews were a little bit late on some of these, but he's going to work vertical, work through the press, get down here, work vertical. Now works back inside to stack the corner, late hands. Love it. So there you see he's got the ability to win deep. Here you can see again, the frame is going to cause issues for these guys trying to press him. They try and get into his body, and the frame just is causing issues. And there he separates a little bit. Not a great ball. You'll see the separation was there a little bit more from the end zone as he works here. I'd like him to not get knocked off his track so much. The separation's there. Bad ball. So, and we saw that a lot from 10. You'll see it from this end zone right there. Again, want to see him play through that contact a little bit better. But he's strong there. Here he's going to work inside, and then you're going to see a slant here, I believe is what's on this one. There it is. Able to stick his foot in the ground, and at 218 pounds, 6'4", that's pretty good. To be able to work through that, stick your foot in the ground, and attack that slant. Using his frame, again, same thing we saw with Jacobe. Use that frame to create separation, beat that guy trying to get into your body. You get into his body first. I love it. Let's see here. You're going to see him on a sluggo. So he's going to run a slant and go. And again, good job. Stacks the corner here. He's going to work inside. Then boom, get vertical, stack the corner, work outside so that now your quarterback has a big throwing window out here. Not a great throw. He was there, but you see how he can do it, how he can win vertical, stacks the corner, and then that big frame. It's kind of like a power forward, right? Like they just box somebody out and they can't, and they have to work through you to get to the ball. And with that frame, it's just it's not happening. So like that.
Man, it would have been nice to get a good throw on that one, just to see, how he plays the ball, tracks the ball in the air. Like, give him
we'll get one. We'll get one. It's coming down the pipe.
Okay.
It's coming down the pipe. So here you can also see the vision, okay, of what he can be. He's going to run a crossing route here in the end zone. Watch again the panic in the defense because you got a big body guy. He's running across the field. They grab him to keep him from scoring a touchdown, because when you have a kid with this kind of size and speed running across the field, and there ain't no catching this as he's running across, and he's got such a big catch rate. So there it is, just grab and hold, and you'll see it from the end zone. The guy's just yanking on his jersey. And they draw a flag here in the red zone period. You'll see it really well from this angle. This is the vision of what you'd have for him. Okay, there it is. Oh, he's holding on to that for dear life, because that's a big horse running down there. All right, so now we're going to see him at the top. He's going to run a vertical here, and you're just going to see the same thing. Watch him work vertical, stack the corner, and go get the ball. Now, not a great throw, but again, working against Malik Muhammad. You can see Muhammad struggled with both Lane and Fields because of their length. Like, his length was just a problem for him. He couldn't get into their bodies. So you can see it, that they have the burst. Here we're going to see him again. This is what we call a diamond release. So he's going to work out and then slant back in. So you're going to see a nice work on this. Boom. We uses that frame. Got to finish the catch. Got to finish the catch. He had a rough day. This was the last day of the Senior Bowl, and he had 3 big drops on that. Here, this is where the route running's got to become a little bit more nuanced. He's going to win and win vertical, and then he's got the corner in a trail position. He kind of gives a nod and then works to the corner, and that actually helps the corner catch up to him. He's got him beat, and then he gives a nod and gives up his leverage. So he's got some work to do as far as refining his route running. Because, he basically had that route won and then gave up the win. So you'll see it from this angle as well. But you can see you see the frame. Defensive backs are just, this is a guy you don't want standing across from you.
He looked really good on the 2 slants, even on the sluggo, like that in breaking that cut. He looks really sudden when he makes that one cut. Like, whoa, you're like surprised at how quickly he makes it.
Yeah, here you're going to see him on a slant. This is again against Malik Muhammad, working against the press. There it is. Boom. He gets it and then cuts it. And you see that explosion. That's the kind of route the 49ers want him running if he's in this role, right? Like, they want to run those drift routes. They want you to beat press man on this. They want you to get vertical, stay on your track, work through the contact. You can see that frame is so much trouble for these corners when you have a guy that big. He's just towering out there. Both these kids are just so big that they create a lot of issues, snatch the ball out of the air. This is not the same rep. You're going to see him, but he's against the same corner. He's going to run the slant here. There it is. Boom. Diamond release, works outside, creates a separation across the middle, and you can go catch and run with the ball. Really like what you see there. Now we're going to see, you wanted to see him adjust to a ball on a deep throw. We're going to get it here after we see the end zone shot right up in here. Again, frame. He just doesn't allow guys into his body. That's what you like. 49ers have struggled on some of this stuff. So this is going to be a 2-for-1, because we're going to see Kevin Coleman here, who's coming up next. He's going to be wide open on a shallow crossing route because this guy cannot run with him. We're going to see some real speed when he comes up. But now you're going to see this is Malachi. He's going to run a corner post. So he's going to work the corner to the post. And this is a phenomenal adjustment. The catch of the week. He works the corner, the safety, boom. He's open. Woo.
Wow. Okay. He definitely had to track that one.
Yeah. I want to see something real quick.
Breaking towards the hash, and then the throw took him back towards the middle of the field.
I do want to give a good shout out to these group of people right here. That is one Johnny Dell, Steph Sanchez, and Wayne Breezy sitting right there. But you'll see it from the end zone. This is a phenomenal adjustment on this. This was the catch of the week. Again, 10 did not have a great week. He was very suspect with his accuracy. It's like, set your feet, dude. Don't. Oh, okay. Yeah. But you see, they're running out of the way. Oh man. That's a center fielder catch.
Yeah, because he's looking over his left shoulder, then he's got to come back over on the right side towards the middle of the hash. That was, I don't know why the quarterback just didn't set his feet and throw, but great catch from Fields.
Yeah. I mean, that's the stuff you love to see. Like this is what we talk about catch radius. Like, you don't have to be 100% accurate with everything. You have a good margin of error. This kid's going to go get it. He's got a huge frame. He can make it happen. You're going to see the same thing on this shallow crossing route. This won't look as impressive from the all 22 as you will see from the end zone. It's a late throw. And there was an option, and there was a window of opportunity for run after the catch. But same thing, you will see how this kid, watch the outstretched arms. That's a huge catch radius. That's what we mean when we say big catch radius, big margin of error for your quarterbacks. You put this kid with a Brock Purdy, I like the possibilities there. That is not an accurate throw, but those arms to go out and snatch it, that your quarterback does not have to be 100% accurate. This is a ball that's way out there, but you got those long arms to go snatch it. I like this kid.
Loves catch radius. It's always been important to him. That was what we heard about aiyuk. Remember, he had like the wingspan that was like longer than his height or something. It was some like obscure wingspan stat. But wingspan, when you hear that, you're talking about catch radius. How far away from their body guys can make catches with the football. So that is definitely encouraging to see. I got to be honest, I kind of like what I saw from Fields more so than what I saw from Lane, if I had to compare the two.
Yeah, I mean, Malachi Fields, the one thing I will say is that the hands weren't as consistent. Mm-hmm. Now, Lane drew more penalties. Fields showed a little bit more explosiveness. For me, these guys they're real close. I don't have a huge separation between them on my end as far as where they are. I kind of have them like 1A, 1B. I wouldn't be upset with either one. And I think sometimes too, going through the prospects helps us remind that kind of that kind of thing, because we sometimes get locked into that, there's only one or two or three guys that are there that can really be good players. The draft is a process. It is a starting point for a lot of these guys. They've got to get in, and there's so much about their personal background of what they can be. We saw that with Brandon Aiyuk. It took him 3 years to really turn into Brandon Aiyuk, right? And so of what he became, that process, you see that both these guys have a potential. Where they go from that will be a huge question.
Well, I hope that the 49ers treat it the way you're talking about, because sometimes I think they do fall in love with one guy. Yeah. And so then they're like, we have to go get our guy. We have to trade up. We need this guy. Whereas I think they'd be better served in the draft saying, here's a group of people that we like. We don't see much separation between these, 2, 3, 4 guys. So whichever one falls to us, we will take and we will live with. And even if it's not, our first choice, we're okay with that because we're saving the resources to use in other areas.
100%. And, because there's some people talking in the chat about how these guys are ranked. I would say it's not consensus. It depends on where you go. Some people are saying that Jacobe Lane is a late first. Some people are saying he's an early third. It depends on who you look at. Some people are saying Malachi Fields is a late first. Some are saying he's a late second. Like it just depends on who are you looking at. There's going to be discrepancy. The average right now, average rankings say that Jacobe Lane is ranked as the 10th best receiver in the draft, and Malachi Fields is the 11th best receiver in the draft. That is the when you look at aggregate draft rankings. So yes, you guys can point to different rankings. Say, well, this guy's he's gonna be there. No, okay, we're all making educated guesses here. So just remember that.
Educated guesses on February 12th? No.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, look, we got to wait for the combine and we'll see guys always rise and fall at the combine too. We'll see ultimately where it shakes out. Before we get to our final wide receiver, just want to take a minute, remind everybody what Sleeper's got going on. You can use Sleeper for fantasy and for daily fantasy, but now they have launched team picks. So you can choose winners of each game. There's no Warriors game tonight, kind of a light game, a light night in the NBA. You can pick my Thunder if you want, as I happen to be a Thunder fan. They're playing who did I write down? Oh, the Bucks. That's right. Giannis and the Bucks. Or you could, if you're feeling confident right now, you could pick the 49ers to make the Super Bowl, come out of the NFC. You get 9 times your money. Now, of course, you got to get it right, obviously, as with any pick. But go check it out. I promise you will have a good time. And if you just sign up, you'll get a free $20 entry, as you can see on the screen. So please check out Sleeper today, currently operational in over 25 states. Check it out. All right, Johnny, let's go to our final wide receiver, and that is Kevin Coleman Jr. Tell me about him.
So this might not be the most heralded name coming out of into draft season. This is a guy that is kind of polarizing among some of the different draft experts. A lot of them have him ranked as a 4th round pick. Now Trevor Sikkema from PFF, I think he has him as a 7th round pick, but he was well outside of the kind of consensus view. The highest I saw him ranked, I think, was 125th in the draft, but there's something here. The reason why he's ranked in this is because of his size. He's 5'11" and 174 pounds. So he's a smaller guy. Okay. That is something that, though, I don't think the 49ers are necessarily scared of. We drafted Jacob Cowing, who was 176 pounds, right? Now he didn't see the field this year, but that was because of the hamstring. It wasn't because of his size. They have been wanting this kind of slot burner guy, but what I like about him is he's not quite the vertical speed of a Jacob Cowing, but I think he's a better route runner. I think his feet are better. So here's what we're going to see. This kid is lightning fast with his feet. You're going to see him on an out route here. Just watch the quickness in the feet to break and go. Super smooth on his routes. This kid makes route running look effortless. He just works to create space. Watch the feet. Okay, these feet are so fast. I love this kid's feet like crazy. You're going to see effortless separation on a post route here. When he makes this break, he is going to separate and run away. That's why I like this kid. Is when we talk, if you want to talk about dynamic speed and ability to create separation with your route running, this kid has a lot in the tank. I mean, those feet are so fast. And this is a kid that, man, when you see him run, you just go, gosh, there's a lot to like. Now, he is a slot guy. This is not going to be an outside receiver. He's definitely a slot. What I do find interesting about this is, okay, you can plug this kid in and it allows you to move Ricky to your X receiver role. That's what I like about him, is that Ricky doesn't have to be a slot now. You can keep him on the outside where he's shown he can be very effective. You're going to see this speed down the seam, something we did not have last year. Watch how quickly he gets down the seam. He's going to run a little seam bender here, and he gets vertical in a hurry, threatens these safeties, gets these linebackers out of here. Like, this is the vertical seam speed that we were missing last year, that you need against Seattle when they're running those 2 highs. You need to be able to do that. Watch this out and up. He's going to run a little out and up. He doesn't slow down in and out of his breaks. It's there, and he just moves. Silky smooth route runner. This is what I love about this kid. Look at him go. I mean, my goodness. I love his route running. I love his feet. Again, the size is a little bit of an issue, but man, this is a kid that I could watch run routes all day long, just because of the way his feet move and the way he can get in and out of his breaks. Again, it's the size that is keeping him from being a higher rated draft pick. There are questions, I get it, but man, you look at this in a Shanahan offense and if you can create stacks where this kid they aren't able to get his hands on him. I mean, look at the separation there. Now I don't love that how he worked this. He needed to work with more urgency to stack the corner and then break over the middle, force that corner into a two-way go. He still beats him. Got to finish the route. And so he's got to refine some of this stuff of how to work, but you can see the quickness is there. I really like him as a player and somebody that I think you're going to get in that, day 3. He's going to be a day 3 receiver that brings a lot to the table that you could like. Now, again, do I love him as like your primary guy? No, he's going to be your number 3 receiver on plays. You're going to see him here as well. Here he is in the slot. He's a slot player. He's a number 3 weapon, but we need weapons. Like we need more than 2. We need 3, 4. We need guys. You can see him working on that crosser. Man, there's the vision of what I see out of him. Okay. You're getting the ability to get vertical, break over the middle. This safety would have no chance. You get somebody clearing this out. This is a Shanahan thing, right? Like you get past these linebackers and you're catching and you're gone. That's what I like about him. He can be a home run hitter on those. We don't have those. We didn't have that last year. So that's what I really like here about Kevin Coleman, why he's been turning into one of my draft crushes. He will be there in day 3.
Kyle said it, few questions get answered so directly like this one. They talked about, do you need to get faster? And Kyle said, definitely. First word out of his mouth was definitely. Like he sees it. They see it. You can't have another season where your fastest ball carrier was a linebacker. Like that. Yeah. You can't. No. And again, speed isn't everything. It's not saying, oh, just draft any fast guy. That's not what we're talking about here. You need to have functional speed. But that's why I like the smoothness and what you were talking about. That's what makes it so exciting because you can see how it translates. It's not just a stopwatch time.
100%. I mean, he's going to have one of the faster 40 times from the Senior Bowl. He's not going to have the fastest. I think Barry and Brown is going to have the fastest 40 time. But he's somebody I don't like as much as a receiver. I like this kid as a route runner a lot better. I think he's got much better feet, that he's able to get in and out of his breaks with more speed. That's really what matters, is how fast do you get out of your break, how smooth you get into your break. And this kid has that. Now, again, the size is a concern, but I will say how many times we've seen a number of guys throughout their careers get questioned because they were too small to play receiver. And some of these guys turn into some really amazing playmakers. He's going to run around probably a 4.40 at the combine. I don't foresee it being sub 4.4, but you can see the quickness in the feet is as like you said, functional speed on the football field is what you see there. I really like this kid as a 4th rounder, somebody you can get there and could be really dynamic in the slot. And you could play him early because you don't have to give him the entirety of the route tree. Give him your slot, let him play there, let him grow there. You have Ricky or whoever you get at your X, or Z, you have options there. If you get an Alec Pierce or somebody, maybe George Pickens is out there. Like you have options that you can do if you that this kid gives you. Like you have options and there's more than one way to build it.
The weapons are going to look a little different for Brock next year. I really do think that. It's going to be fascinating to see how the Niners sort of put that puzzle together. And we're going to be breaking down rookies, obviously, from now until the draft. Like we said, combine coming up in less than 2 weeks. I know you still have a ton more Senior Bowl stuff to go through as well, because there's just so much. You got 5 different views of every single rep. That's a lot of stuff to go through. But we greatly appreciate it. Again, if you're just joining us, we looked at 3 wide receivers that are good fits for the 49ers. Jacobe Lane out of USC, Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame, and Kevin Coleman from Missouri. If you want even more film breakdown, check out Johnny's YouTube channel, the Johnny Dale Football Academy. I promise you there is more there than you will ever be able to watch in a lifetime. It is awesome. It will make you a better, smarter fan. Johnny, we thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week.